Good morning. It is VapeAM, and what is it, Saturday? And today we're going to talk about Wotofo. They got some new stuff, clamp deck, mesh. Check it out. It's VapeAM. We're going to talk about the Wotofo Profile RDA. It's got a mesh option. It's really cool with this little clamp deck. Yeah. Good morning. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a great day. I'm enjoying a nice hot cup of tea. It's VapeAM. VapeAM every Saturday and Wednesday. We talk about vaping. We talk about quitting smoking. We interview people. We drink a lot of coffee and tea. And we vape. Look at my desk. My desk has the new Profile RDA on it. And this little guy is pretty darn cool. I'm zooming way up here. It's got a clamp deck that you put little mesh box into. Ding, ding, ding. And today we're going to take one of these things and stick it in here and talk about this thing. I'm not absolutely wild about this thing, but it's pretty cool. I hope all of you are having a great day. This is a live show, so thank you to everybody who tuned in live. Logan Vapes, Leighton Vapes, Dr. Dolphy, Owen, Simon. All of you having a conversation. Ed, Roan, great to see you. JT Munn, nice to see you too. Naki, James Rivera, everybody. We'll be seeing Michaela and Brady and some other people soon. Everybody have a great morning. Like I said, I'm having a nice one. I'm going to build on this thing this morning. I've been putting regular coils in this thing while I've got it, and I think that it's actually kind of really difficult to build for having for regular coils, and I'll show that to you in just 1 second. But it's pretty cool. It's a 24 millimeter RDA, and you can buy 22 millimeter caps for it that they just started selling. In fact, I just noticed that they just started selling these. But that's a 24 right there. And look how thick that is too. It's like 2 millimeters. We'll take a super close look at this and do an unboxing as well. Thank you, Owen, for saying don't forget to follow us on Instagram at juicyjones HQ. Click like and subscribe if you like these videos. Like I said, we've been here every day, every week, twice a week for 3 years now plus. And it's thanks to you. Thank all of you. Good morning to James Rivera, who just said hi there. So the Wotofo Profile RDA is another clamp deck RDA, and you guys know that I'm not really wild about clamp decks. They're usually pretty hard to build. This one's really no exception. It's certainly not what you'd call easy to build. We'll see how the mesh goes. It looks like it's probably easier to build. But it comes with a nice kit. It's from Wotofo. You guys know that I love Wotofo overall, and they always include a good kit, and things are almost always built well, and this is also no exception to that. That's also true here. This thing comes in 24 millimeters, like I said, and it's got a nice bottom feed. It has a super squonk pin. I'll just show you the anatomy of this thing while I've got it right here. I'm taking it off my vape nut stand. If you guys don't have a vape nut stand, get one. This is 1.2 pounds of steel, VapeAM. This is the Profile RDA base, and it has a really nice squonk. You guys know that my favorite thing is a hex squonk that is 2 millimeters. And so that is pretty darn good. I think that you can't do too much better than that as far as it's being useful. So I love that. Got a separate positive pin, or I'm sorry, negative pin right there. But this, you'll notice, is a clamp deck with these on either side. It uses Phillips to actually tighten the clamps. And this is spring loaded. One of the reasons I was excited about this in the first place was that it's spring loaded. And what that is going to do is put a little pressure on the cotton for a mesh coil. One of the biggest problems with mesh coils is that, in variable tension on the coil itself from the bottom and the density of the cotton can make it burn very inconsistently. And the problem with mesh coils is always inconsistent burning. So this is for what I've done for a single coil, standard coil. It's actually an alien here, but it's extremely tough to get these things in here. I'll just show you guys by unscrewing this thing. So we'll pop this thing off. You don't want to go too far, but I did have to take them completely off to get these coils in here. And you can only fit the coil in through a little narrow channel, or I'm going to take it all the way off just to illustrate to you, or you have to cram it in the top where we're going to put there's a small clearance. So as you'll see, this comes off, and there's a place where the screw goes in there, And that little area right there from the bottom of that, or the top of that to the top of that, that's the only place you have to put in coils if it's any thicker, if it's any wider than this. So if your coil is any wider than this, or if you're doing like a weird twisted coil or anything like that, it's extremely hard to get good purchase with it only being that narrow. I'm telling you, you can clip it, but it's really just kind of a crapshoot. So getting them down inside here is really the best thing, but it can absolutely be no wider than this coil. So if you want to put like a big flat track in here or big frames, I just don't think it's going to work very well because this amount right here is just not I mean, that's technically enough, but you're going to see that it's going to be a pain. But I mean, it will work. I want to stress it will work, but it's kind of a pain. So stick to coils that are a couple of millimeters wide or narrower, and they have to kind of fit down into these channels. It's sort of a limitation of the design. I'm going to put this back on here with my Phillips head. This is symmetrical and these are both the same. So I just screw it in just a tiny bit there. It's extremely loose, but it's in there. And this one's the same. And as you can see on the deck, it's got a little engraving, Wotofo, Wotofo.com. Mr. Just Right One, who was the co-designer on this thing, the Profile RDA. It's got a really, 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 really beefy cap. It's absolutely amazing. This thing is 2 millimeters thick. It's absolutely thick as heck, which I like. And they've done something really clever. If you'll notice that on this deck, it has these notches where we put the screwdrivers in. And these do double duty. They're not just to make clearance for the fastener and to get your driver in there. They're also a little locker. You guys remember the OBS? Oops. I just lost the screw. No, random right there. The good news is that would give me an excuse to show you guys the kit, which has an extra screw. Here we go. Hey, Simon Pickery, nice to see you. Hey, Omar Khan. He's saying that this is a game changer. Omar Khan's telling me Rip Tripper said this is a game changer. Yeah, definitely not. This is really cool though. This is just like the OBS. It has a locking top. So I've been saying forever that more people need to do this, but you can see that they use these little notches to do double duty. Oops, I'm sorry, I hit the camera there, guys. To do double duty, and when you put the cap down, it stays there. So it's really cool. I love that. I've loved that ever since OBS did it the first time. Wow, it was on the Cheetah. So that's killer. They have nice soft O-rings, so they're easy to move. This is too easy to move. I don't like honeycomb airflows, so it has a honeycomb airflow. The reason I don't like honeycomb airflow is that I can never see where the air is. So you have to sort of eyeball it, and then you have to remember also that this is a real soft O-ring, so it always moves. So every time you take the cap off, you have to readjust the airflow, and you can't see it, so you have to, you have to sort of suck on it. It's a little weird. I would probably replace this with just a dual Cyclops, but that's just me. I mean, this is fashionable. I'm not complaining. It's extremely smooth. I want to stress that this is wet because I just took it out of the ultrasonic. I always tell you guys that. Mine came with 2 drip tips, and each one's going to come with one of these gray ones and a random color one. And lucky for me, mine matched. What if they had included like red along with the blue? It would have looked silly. I'm not a fan of when they say they're going to be random colors, but I'm hoping that they always match the drip tip, at least in general ballpark, to the top. I'm not sure because I don't have more than one, but hopefully they do. That's cool. But so the cap is cool. I don't really have any complaints about the cap, except that I think that this thing ought to stop on a little shelf down here, because as it is now, there is definitely a little bit of weeping that happens when you get this down on here, and we'll pull it off. And you'll pull off the cap, and there will be a little bit of e-liquid down inside here a lot of times. But this, I don't want to say this is a messy RDA, because it's not. And Wotofo's always been real good about making stuff work. Okay, so there we are, locked in. I love how it locks in. Let me just pull the focus back a little bit. Take that back off. Bonk. Okay, so we'll get this thing back on here. And then we're going to open up the package. In fact, I'll just put this off. And we'll open up the package and we'll get the replacement parts. Should I hit the camera some more? Like, what's wrong with me today? I don't think I've ever hit the camera this much. All right. All right. Okay, one of the things I hate is when they don't notch the box. Notch the fucking box. You guys heard me talk about that for freaking months last year. I'm so sick of when they don't notch the box. Notch the freaking box. Especially for those of us who open up a lot of boxes. Profile. Mr. Just Right, never heard of him. I've never heard of Mr. Just Right 1 before, and so no idea what's up with that. Profile RDA. It's got UPC code so it can be sold. It's got some logos on it. It's got another logo on it. It tells me it's blue. The Profile RDA comes with this kit, some mesh, a mesh tool, extra O-rings, extra screws, a manual, Japanese cotton, an 810, and some Clapton coils. It is not an electronic cigarette. Well, actually, that's true. What am I saying? It is an electronic cigarette. Manufactured by Wotofo. Shenzhen Wotofo. Notch the box. Notch the box. Notch the box. I'm so sick of this. Hi, Kayla. There we are. We're in. We're in. Okay. Inside the box came the RDA. And the base was sitting right there. One of the things they were eager to do was definitely to show this thing off. So that's all out now. They include all the tools you need, including a little tool. This is for pre-bending the cotton. Pre-bending the mesh. And you actually form the mesh around this and then stick it down inside there. And then you use this end of the tool inside there to play with it. So this isn't for regular coils. Actually, this is made of ceramic, I believe. And I believe that they intend this to be used for the mesh. It includes a 2mm Allen key and a Phillips head key, which is cool. Wotofo always includes the kit, so I'm not going to complain. And they've also listened. They used to put these into completely opaque bags, and now they've listened and started putting them in clear bags, and they have labels too. So, do you know your Ohm's law? Frame, staple. I like that they put the characteristics on here. Include one in here, and this one is narrow enough to go inside of this device. It includes some cotton with an aglet, which is the rage now, so we're going to, I guess, use this. And it comes with some spare parts, a spare 510, which that is a squonker, as you can see, in case something happens to yours. O-rings, springs for the ceramic piece in the center, and extra screws, which is cool, and a manual. And I'll show you that the manual, I've already been through this. Oh, one more thing. It comes with spare mesh. These are about $4 for the entire, for one of these, for a pack of these things. And I think they sent you 4. Let me just double check that. I'm sorry, no, pack of 10. So they send you 10 for about $4. So these are cheap. And you and I will see in just one second how great these are to put in there. And the whole RDA costs about $30. And there's links to those in the description if you want to check them out. It tells you how to preform the mesh coil on there. Bend the coil sheet by wrapping around the included rod in 10 languages, which is cool. Install the coil sheet onto the deck and secure it by tightening the screws. And you can obviously do the same with regular coils. But remember what I told you about the regular coils. They have to be small enough to fit on the side there, or you have to get very, very clean cuts. With clean cuts, you'll be okay. But with twisted coils and other kinds of things, not so much. Just a photographic example. Now they're saying use the ceramic tool to pre-fire it a little bit and to make it heat evenly, which is cool. That's a good idea. Most people don't do enough of that. Insert the cotton and cut off the aglet end. So they use a ton of cotton, but they've used the aglet and then just cut it in 2 places. Stick it in there and wick it. So we are going to do this process ourselves. Oh, and there's what you get. We're going to do this together right now. First, we're going to have a cup of tea, or at least a drink. I hope you guys have some coffee or tea. I'm Eli Juicy Jones. I am just waking up, and so you can see it's 8:30 right now. It's about half an hour into the show. No, I'm sorry, we've been going 15 minutes because I was running late as always. And I just hope you guys are off on a great day. It's VapeAM. Thanks to Leighton Life. He says he's in Ontario. Owen, Logan, Ford F-150 Angelo. Great to see you. Hi to Michaela as well. And hey, Owen. I hope everyone's doing well. Boom. All right. Back down to the profile. I should probably drink more coffee before I do the show sometimes. So let's set that aside. I've got this little guy out. Just going to tear it open. And I'm going to extract one of the pieces of mesh. There one is. Now, we've worked with mesh a few times. All right, I'm just going to wrap it around here as they said. Probably fairly important not to get it angled or anything. So that gives it a little bit of a pre-bend. Yep. You probably don't even have to do that. The magnet made it stick right there. So I'm sure this will just drop right in there. I'm going to go for the one that's already in. We'll tighten it, and then we'll reassemble the other side. To be honest, building this thing with regular coils was kind of really irritating. Building it with this stuff, it's not so bad. It's definitely better. So I'm going to just sort of barely tighten that, and then take a look at it. Touch it with my finger. Yeah, it doesn't want to move. Okay, that's fine. Now, if you build this with regular coils, you'll be taking this off a lot. I use my fingernail to steady this stuff. And remember that the curved side goes on top, the large curved side. You can set it in there and it just goes right in. Now I'm just going to make sure that that is evenly down. These are I'm barely tightening these, just so you guys know, because I don't want to pinch that, because like you notice that that's curved a little bit, so I need to move it a little bit. You really don't need to. Remember, if you undo both sides of a mesh coil, you have to have your finger on it, or it'll pop out. Okay, we're straightened up. Yeah, looks good. I'm just going to give that a little tighten. I'm not super tightening this yet. Not until I've got a reading, new coil. 0.2 is our reading. It says that it should come to 0.18. And so I want you guys to know that you can't fire this on a mech unless you have 22 amp batteries. And even so, that'd be too high. They recommend 45 to 65 watts. So I recommend using a regulated mod with this, because even on bypass, it's going to be not quite, but almost double that on a 20 amp battery, 22 amp battery, just so you know. If you fire it on a 30 amp battery or something like that, you're probably going to burn it up. But you must have at least 22 amps to fire these. And let's find their cotton aglet. As you can see, this hasn't taken much time. I'll give them that. Come on out, baby. Come on out, baby. Come on. Tweezers, please. Okay. So this is just a big cotton aglet thing. They intend for us to remember, check this out. This goes down. So it's going to make room for it. Goes in quite easily. They've used a lot of cotton here, y'all. I mean, like, I'm going to have to, like, work to get this through here. Man, they use a lot of cotton. So there's some guidance for you. I didn't use this much for my single coil build, but you wouldn't need to. One cuts the aglet off. God, that's a lot of cotton. Even my Embroidery scissors have trouble with this. That is a lot of cotton, y'all. We're going to cut some of that out. Man, as you guys know, I am not a fan of using this much cotton, but we are going to do it. That's what they say. I am going to cut the end off this to get some fresh ends. I can feel that this is 2 humongous chunks of cotton in here. So I'm doing that just to fluff it up a little bit. Feels like that's going to hold like 6 gallons of juice. And that's my problem with this. We're going to talk about some conclusions here in a minute. And I'll tell you guys some cons to some of the way that this does things. One of them is that this just uses too much juice. It presumes too much juice. And there's really no reason for it, because what happens is all of this is just a diaper. This is all just supposed to get dirty and changed. You're not going to vape all of the e-liquid in all this cotton, because this design squonks out of the middle and doesn't suck it out of the tray at the bottom. And so the tray at the bottom is going to necessarily just be extremely soaking wet all the time. I posted some pictures on Twitter about that. Or am I going to? I took a picture. I think I mentally wanted to post it, and I'm going to for you. See, that's so much cotton that I have trouble even like getting it in here. I just don't know how they intend you to actually do this. I mean, I'm glad I've got steel tools. It feels like they're using cotton instead of good mechanical engineering. But that doesn't mean I have to use this much cotton. Obviously, this will work better when I use less, but because every time I've built this until now, I haven't used this much, not by a billion. Oh, most of the thing is the density of it is insane. I mean, it would take forever for this to get saturated, and it'll take it forever for it to vape out. And almost all the stuff on the outside will just stay lame. But here we go. So, that is an enormous amount of cotton. It is squonking up into there, but I can't see it yet. Oh, I just saw it come out the side. Yeah, that's horrible. Okay, well, you guys know what I think of that. Homie, don't play that. Yeah, that's not my bag, baby. So I appreciate that Wotofo included this, but I wouldn't use it. I was kind of holding off. What I was doing was I was tending to only use this as, which I succeeded, only use this for regular coils, until I was able to do the show. And so I didn't open any of the mesh stuff yet, so that's cool. We skipped a step too, by the way, so that's fine. We took all that out. I've got it at 18 watts now. And now we're just going to massage this a little bit. They want it to burn evenly. Yep, it's good. That did clean up really nice, didn't it? It cleaned up super easy. Yay! And what's to the rescue? Juicy wicks. Oh, always. So I am going to use a lot compared to what I normally use. So this is 2 full strands. I'm not using 2. This is 1 full strand. No, that's actually 2. I might use 1.5. Yeah, we're getting there. So a lot, yes. That much? Oh my God, no. A hook would be the easiest thing. I can see why they recommend you use their aglet cotton. It's a little bit lazy, but hey, whatever. Okay. Yeah, see, that's more like it. Yep, all right. So that is a ton of cotton, no lie. But not as much as they put in there. And Texas Tough Juicy Wicks. I'm sorry, it's not called Texas Tough anymore. Quick Wicks, Juicy Wicks is so much easier to work with. He's so silky and soft. I love this stuff so much. Just using my finger to hold some of this while I try to point this down and inward. You see there's a couple of little strands there that are pointed kind of the wrong way, and I'm going to pop those out. Turn them around a little bit. You want it all oriented so it can take a little highway up to the coil. It also serves a purpose as a sponge. Oops, sorry, I was a little bit off camera there. It's easy for me just to be staring at it. So this has an enormous amount of cotton, and you should just know that almost all the cotton in the bottom is only going to be a big diaper. It's just going to sit there and keep it from leaking. So it has a purpose, but almost all the action will come from right here. There we go. Just making an eyeballed guess. Trying to get my shoulder there. All right. I think we're winning this contest slowly but surely. Yep, most certainly. Well, how about that? So this is, 3 times the cotton you would use for the single coil, but that's not criticism. It's just a number. Start squonking a little bit. I think that's eating medicine in there. Yes, it is. It's going to take a while for this to get all saturated up. I apologize for the extremely boring video you're about to watch here. But you guys do the same thing that I do. What about y'all? Do y'all have this guy yet? I'm not the only one that has this, surely, right? I just got a note a little while ago that this is like Rip Tripper's favorite RDA in the universe, which just means that it's especially sponsored. It must be lucrative. I don't mean to criticize you, Rip, but I just don't. I always have to see it for myself, and after having this for over a week, I'm not that impressed. But having said that, you know me, I'm fair. I have not vaped this with the mesh on it yet. That's what we're all doing together. So I keep the child's beginner mind until I know. That's my method. This is going to use so much e-liquid. Do you see how much e-liquid that is freaking soaking up, y'all? It's good because if you don't, it'll be horrible because, as you guys know, it requires a lot of juice to keep mesh coils going. They have a lot of surface area in a small space and low resistance, low ramp up time. Oh my God. Because Texas Tough holds so much juice, it's crazy. Being able to put this much juice in these things is insane. This goes to show you I'm using a lot more juice than I normally do. Do-do-boop-boop-a-doo. I've put down a bed of cotton. In a bed of cotton. Okay. Do. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're about 19. They think they should be about 45 to 65 watts. That might be too much. I'm hoping that I can vary this up quite a bit and just do what I want. Let's put a little bit more squonk in that. Looks like we'll get the lid on. Let's vape. So they say 45 to 65. I'm going to give it a 19 watt one just because I always vape low and then go high. Okay. Not burning, not terrible. All right, let's go to 45. A little bit of a metallic taste to start. Just taking a look, just making sure I don't suspect anything. I'm just investigating. It looks fine. Let's burn it out together. So it's not going crazy, right? Let's fire it with you guys. We'll vape it. It's got a 22 millimeter cap with a beauty ring on the bottom that serves as a little tray. Oops, my arm's caught. It's all right. It's pretty good. No ramp up time. The flavor is okay. I think the flavor on this thing is relatively muted overall. Like, that's Eaton Mess, one of my favorite vapes. And it just, out of the mesh coils I've got, this just isn't quite the best one. I'm not complaining. I think that it's good, but it's definitely not amazing. It's a little bit muted to me. And that's been true of all the juices I've tried in it. So a little piece of me is kind of bummed out because I kind of wanted this to have much better flavor, but it doesn't. But it is pretty good. It is easy to adjust. Like I said, why did I do that? When you're adjusting the airflow, it's really easy to adjust. And that's super cool because all you're going to do is turn this little guy right here, and the O-rings are soft and squishy. So and this thing on the bottom is locked on these little notches. So it's really cool to lock that down and do this. I mean, OBS had this going a long time ago, but you still have to kind of eyeball the airflow to start and then get it where you want and then go. That's about where I want it, actually. The flavor's getting much better. Like, that was like what, our third toot on that, and the flavor's better, getting better. Let me just, I can take this opportunity to send a little message to y'all that own the Vandy Vape squonk bottles. I rinsed this out this morning, and I only put in a tiny bit of e-liquid in here. And I just want you guys to know, always rinse out your Vandy Vape bottles because they fail the silicone test. If you take silicone and you stretch it, it should not turn white like that if it's pure silicone. It isn't. It's chemically verified. That's a scientific test you just did. It has additives in it to change its shape or characteristics. And so these have been measured that starting at about 3 days, they'll start leaching. So rinse these out. Do not fail to do that. I'm not telling you guys not to use them because I know a lot of you guys love these things, but if you can not use them, don't. But if you do, which I do sometimes, just like you, make sure that you rinse them out for your own health and safety, please. Squonking now. Oh, why are we not squonking together? Squonking now. I can't see it. That means it's going in underneath there. I think the lights are kind of bright because it looks much darker to me. Oh, yeah, I can see it start oogling. And notice that, love the locking. Notice that you can see a little bit of message appearing around the outside there. So that's what I'm talking about, that the outside of this thing is good, but not perfect. The size is great. 24 millimeters is really great. and the flavor's pretty good, but like I said, muted. I'm not a fan of the airflow. Hey, Mike Braynek, welcome. But this mesh is growing on me, honestly. Yeah. Just see what happens. I actually do recommend this one because for 30 bucks and for $4 for 10 replacement coil things, I think that's a good deal. The flavor is good enough. It's as good as your average RDA. And I just don't think it's one to be avoided. I'm not going to trash talk it. This thing is not that bad. Building on the mesh is fine. Building regular coils with the clamp deck on this thing is so lame, but building mesh was easy as crap as you saw it. So if you're curious, grab one of these. I like the size. I like the locking. The airflow is really smooth and good. And the flavor is good enough for me to carry around. It doesn't have to be the best thing in the universe for me to carry around. I don't always only carry the greatest thing. Sometimes I carry things because they look cool. Sometimes I carry things because they work well. And Wotofo's got a history of making things that work pretty well. And this one's no exception. I've been carrying it for a week. I had it on the feed link a little bit, which did I bring it in here? Yeah, there it is. I was using a single coil, like I said, not the mesh. But I think this is a little bit low. Let me think. Yeah, no, it's okay. This battery in here is 25 amps. So we're probably at about not quite 4 volts. I haven't done the math now, but it does work here. I'm going to mix up my e-liquids here. Looks great in the feed link. Hey! So, like I said, I like Wotofo. I've always liked them, and they, at least when they've come out with a clamp deck this time, it looks like they're trying. They came out with one that's very similar to this, that has a different kind of airflow, and also has a clamp deck that maybe we'll look at coming out next, and it just came out a few days ago, I think. But the profile is okay. I'm not saying anyone should avoid this. If you want one of these, definitely buy one. They're only 30 bucks. It's not really that expensive. And I really like how thick the cap is. I like the locking cap. I like the airflow being cool, even if I'm not wild about the honeycomb airflow. I don't like clamp decks, but to be quite honest, now that we've built the mesh version of this, I like it a lot more because it was easy. And even though it's on a bed of cotton that will just remain a bed of wet cotton all the time, you can't really let that dry out. If you're willing to do this, then you certainly will have an okay time carrying this thing around. I've had an okay time carrying it around with just my single coil in it, although I must say that the flavor was not fantastic out of that. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's a live show. We're going to come back and do a hangout here. So if you're here live, don't leave. But if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much. You can also watch the hangout if you want to. But if you like these videos, click like and subscribe down here. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank all of you. You guys are the best. Thank you. Hello. I'm back. Drink some tea. Get some coffee. How are y'all? Coffee. That's actually tea. I don't know why I just say coffee. It's really a lifetime habit of saying coffee. I started drinking tea a few years ago. It's also delicious, and I just say the word, and it's just a dumb thing I do. Hey, Robbie Brink. Hey, Mike, Owen, Simon, Green Chronic, Omar Khan, Wild L Vapes, and everyone else. What's the favorite profile of Eden Mist juice? I don't know. That's a good question. Somebody out there chime in and tell us what that is. So what about the profile, y'all? It looks to me like Wotofo is smart to send the signal that you need a lot of cotton with this. So at least they're not faking it and pretending like you can go with little cotton. Like, I like that their instructions were clear. I really, really hate clamp decks, but if you use the mesh, this one was okay for sure. Because, I mean, you saw how little time that took. Green Chronic's waiting for his recurve and his Pulse X to come. Hey, Charles Shield. Don't get this for single coil. Don't get this for single coil regular coils like I had. It was too much of a pain to build. For the mesh, like I recommend this for noobs who want to use the mesh, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean this is an easy to build thing. I think pretty much anyone could build this, if you don't accidentally unscrew it too much with the mesh, because it was pretty easy. It might be tough for the sight impaired, maybe. Oh, Green Chronic, you got replacements for your Capo 216 bottle. That's cool. Did your thing only come with one bottle? Mine came with a bunch. But I lost one of them. Don't tell anyone. Gonna put some e-liquid here in this. So I just took a vape on that and it's starting to get dry. One second, let me just do a quick refill here. This is on the Aspire, which is made of silicone. Verified. On our test, you can watch our video. Is silicone safe? Where I go through my squonk bottles. So this is starting for the first time to feel dry. Take a look at it. And you see it doesn't look it at all. I also see a small brown spot right there. Right there. So we'll see. Do some more squonking. Till it's coming out of the sides. They intend this to become kind of a soup. It's a little bit messy. I was asking if the spring is springy enough, and I think the spring might need to be a little stronger, to be honest. Charles, I don't have a suggestion for a replacement for the Vandy Vape Squonk bottle, except that you just rinse it out every day. At least every 3 days, but every day is what I would do. And when I use mine, that's what I do. I keep it just dried out most of the time. But it's not like I don't like it. And close the air down a little bit. So remember that inside there is a big pool, so you got to squonk and then let it get saturated. Because if you don't, then you'll get dry hits out of it. And if you take the lid on and off too much like I'm doing during my testing, it'll be messier than not. I don't like rancid cotton. It's a little bit of a waste of e-liquid to me. Oh, Charles, well, I think that's all we can do for now. And I just keep appealing to Vandy Vape to change the bottles. It really shouldn't be a big deal. This one from Aspire is perfectly squishy. I mean, all they have to do is tell them to make sure they're using real silicone. Seems like that's kind of a no-brainer, right, y'all? Right? Ah. And then what about Scott Gottlieb this week is going on a huge tirade against the epidemic of underage vaping, which does not exist. There is no epidemic of underage vaping. And he had the nerve to say that no one could look at the data and come to a different conclusion, which is just a way of saying I'm wrong. It's a way of trying to win the argument without showing the data. If you show the data shows quite clearly that underage vaping and underage smoking are both plummeting. Kids don't want to smoke, and kids aren't vaping as much. 2 years ago, it was much, much higher and went down and down again last year. So there's no proof of what he's saying. And this is just pure and simple a way for the tobacco industry to make sure to suppress the vaping industry. So you have to make sure that you call your Congress people, not that they're going to do a goddamn thing because the current Congress is garbage, but call them on the phone anyway and tell them, all of them, that they should not encourage this kind of crazy lunacy, and call Scott Gottlieb at the FDA and tell him to look at the data and tweet him too. You can follow me on Twitter and I've got some tweets about this. He's crazy. It is crazy. And Robbie Brink says, is asking about the One Hit Wonder juice. You know what? I've been liking it since you sent it. It's actually a surprise. Let me get it and I'll show you guys. It's a surprise to me that this is good. He sent me for my birthday. Thanks again. That was awesome. A bottle of this. And this is the Nick Salts. And this is the one from the Man series. And these are like super smooth nicotine True Nick 2.0. It's their own version of Nick Salts. But what they've done is they've made very, very low concentrations of Nick Salts. And what it'll let them do is it let them put a lot more flavor in there or something. But this is the only one. I've been vaping these juices for years, and this is the first one that I actually like. And so I was kind of pleasantly surprised by that. So yeah, I definitely recommend people try those. And somebody just sent me a photograph today of the whole line of those. Where did I see that? You can remind me. If you're not on Discord, make sure you click on the Discord link in the description down there and join us and chat with us. Good. Charles Seals got a DIY kit. He said he's going to cover his bases. They can't sell cancer. Big Pharma wants to see vaping go away. Absolutely. They can't sell cancer and COPD drugs if you don't have cancer and COPD. COPD is a scourge too. These people are evil. They want people to keep smoking. They want to raise the vaping age to 21. So people who are underage, who are going to do this anyway, whether it's legal or not, whether you tell them to or not. It's when I was a kid, I did it. And I remember I didn't care what anyone thought. They're going to do it anyway. If you raise the age, they don't have access to vaping. So they do have access to cigarettes. Why isn't there a humongous bunch of outrage about underage smoking? Every time someone talks about underage vaping or the Juuls or anything else, they need to talk about anyone smoking cigarettes. If they don't compare them directly, then it's silly, but they won't. So lame. It was old vape guy Gary. He had the One Hit Wonder stuff. Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised by these, and I was stoked to see your picture, and I was kind of jealous that you get to try the whole line too, because that sounds pretty good. So what is it? We're almost an hour in. I got to go. Today is Saturday, and it's one of those crazy Saturdays where we have to run around and get scooters and do other stuff. And so I love all you guys. I hope you're having success quitting smoking. I hope everyone's staying on the vaping. We're trying to get old and not die and be cool. So I hope all of you are having a nice one. I'm going to squonk here and vape out. Thank you so much.